Hi guys, you're welcome back to the channel. So today I have this video here with me titled Why Beijing's Victory Day Parade Has the World Watching. This is a very interesting topic, so let's get right in.
Today in Beijing, history and power came crashing together in one of the biggest spectacles China has staged in years. The 80th anniversary of Japan's surrender in World War II. A day of remembrance, a day of politics, and a day of military might. But today, behind the flags and the fireworks, there was drama. Who showed up, who refused to come, and why this day matters so much to China's future. This wasn't just a parade. This was a statement to the entire world. To understand today, you need to go back to 1937. That year, Japan launched a full-scale invasion of China. What followed was 8 years of unimaginable brutality. Cities were bombed, villages were burned, and millions of lives were lost. The darkest moment came in December 1937 in Nanjing. Japanese forces stormed the city and carried out one of the worst atrocities of the 20th century, the Nanjing Massacre. Over 6 weeks, hundreds of thousands of civilians were killed, women were raped, families destroyed, the cities left in ruins. And to this day, that memory burns deep in Chinese history and identity. But China didn't collapse. Despite being weaker, fragmented, and under-equipped, Chinese forces kept fighting. They tied down the bulk of the Japanese army on the Asian mainland. For 8 years, China bled and resisted. By the time Japan finally surrendered in 1945, China had paid one of the highest prices of the war. Tens of millions dead, entire cities reduced to rubble. That's why China calls it the war of resistance against Japanese aggression. And that's why today's commemoration is more than just a parade. It's about reminding the world that China fought, China suffered, and China helped win the war. So fast forward to today in Beijing and you see how that history still shapes politics. The guest list spoke volumes. Around 26 leaders stood by Xi Jinping at Tiananmen Square. Among them, Vladimir Putin, Kim Jong-un, the presidents of Iran, Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, Malaysia, Mongolia, Cuba, Zimbabwe, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Pakistan, a lineup of nations showing visible support. But if you look carefully, and you'll see the absences. Western leaders were nowhere to be found. The US, Europe, Japan, they all skipped it. Japan even lobbied other countries not to attend at all. That move angered Beijing, which formally lodged a protest. And then there's India. Prime Minister Modi came to China last week for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit in Tianjin. There, he joined discussions on trade, security, and regional stability alongside Xi Jinping and Putin. But when it came time for today's big parade, Modi was gone. He left before the tanks rolled out and the missiles were put on display. Analysts say it was a careful balancing act. India wants ties with China, but it doesn't want to be seen endorsing a show of military power that lines Beijing up with Moscow and Pyongyang. So why was today such a massive deal for China? First, it's about honoring history. Every year, Beijing reminds its people and the world that China was a victim of aggression and also a victor in resistance. Second, it's about flexing military muscle. Tens of thousands of troops marched in perfect formation. Stealth jets screamed overheard. Hypersonic missiles.
Oh my god, this is really an emotional one. I never knew China has gone through all of this in the past. I never knew. This is my first time knowing all of this. This is really sad. Now I see where their power, their strength is coming from, because they have been through a lot. And this parade is just it's clear that China is making a clear statement to the world. It is just clear. I wonder what China's next move would be after this parade. I just wonder. Let's get back to it.
ICBMs, submarine launched nukes, advanced drones, all rolled past Tiananmen Square in front of the cameras. This was about showing that China isn't just remembering the past, it's prepared for the future. And thirdly, it's about sending a message by inviting Putin, Kim, and a host of global South leaders. Xi Jinping signaled that Beijing is building a world order outside Western dominance, a world where China positions itself at the center. So while today's event honored 1945, its real target was 2025 and beyond. And finally, let's not forget the diplomacy behind the scenes. I mean, last week's SCO summit in Tianjin was just as important as today's parade. It brought together leaders from across Eurasia to discuss trade, security, and cooperation. Ukraine even urged Beijing to pressure Moscow into peace, but the final communication largely sidestepped the war. That silence spoke volumes about how China and its allies are trying to rewrite the global conversation. And then the exits: India, Egypt, Turkey. Their leaders all came for the summit but quietly skipped the parade. Why? Because standing shoulder to shoulder at a military spectacle with Putin and Kim sends a very different message than attending a diplomatic forum. So what we saw today wasn't just a celebration. It was geopolitics motion. Leaders choosing when to be seen and when to walk away. So today in Beijing wasn't just about fireworks, flags, and parades. It was about history, remembering the suffering of the Chinese people during Japan's invasion and the Nanjing massacre. It was about power, flexing advanced military strength for the cameras, and it was about politics, showing the world who's with China, who isn't, and how Beijing wants to shape the future. 80 years later, China is still fighting a war, not on the battlefield, but in memory, in politics, and in diplomacy. And today's spectacle was Beijing's way of making sure the whole world is watching. If you watched, what are your thoughts on this, of the news that's being talked around the world that will change the world? It was quite a powerful day today to be here in China with the Chinese, celebrating, remembering, and honoring. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Wow. Amazing. Wow, guys. First of all, shout out to this beautiful lady. I loved everything about her. The way she was giving analysis, everything was so perfect. And most of those things I don't know until today that China has been through all of that invasion from Japan. Wow, this is really interesting. I am in a way I am glad that China are preparing themselves. They are not giving chance. They are preparing themselves due to what they have been through. It is understandable, but I pray for peace between the countries. Okay, let there be peace. Let there be love. Okay, let love lead. All right, guys. Let me know your opinion on the comments. Okay, what do you think about this video? Let me know on the comments. Share your opinion on the comment. It is well appreciated. Guys, let me know what else you'd like me to be checking out on my next video. Okay, if there's anything you want me to check out, please let me know on the comments. I will really appreciate it. Thank you for watching to the end. Thank you for bringing me this far. Thank you for your constant recommendations, your like, your shares. I appreciate it all. I will see you all on my next one. Bye for now.